Welcome back to Simple Mind Space, the podcast dedicated to empowering you on your journey to financial freedom and unlocking your full potential. Today, we're diving deep into the often uncomfortable but incredibly important topic of conflict. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Conflict? That sounds stressful. And you're right, conflict can be challenging, but it's also an inevitable part of life, especially when it comes to our personal and professional relationships. What's fascinating is that while most of us instinctively shy away from conflict, we often overlook the fact that disagreement itself isn't the enemy. In fact, healthy disagreement is crucial for growth, innovation, and stronger relationships. I recently had the pleasure of speaking with Julia Minson, an expert in the psychology of disagreement and conflict. She's an associate professor at Harvard Kennedy School and has dedicated her career to understanding how we can navigate disagreements more constructively. Let me tell you, her insights were incredibly eye-opening. One of the biggest takeaways from our conversation was the crucial distinction between disagreement and conflict. You see, disagreement arises when two or more people have differing opinions or perspectives. This is completely natural and, as I mentioned earlier, can be quite beneficial. Think about it. When we're exposed to different viewpoints, it challenges our own assumptions, pushes us to think critically, and can lead to more well-rounded solutions. Conflict, however, takes disagreement a step further. It's when we attach negative judgments and emotions to those differing opinions. Instead of simply seeing the other person as having a different perspective, we start to view them as wrong, incompetent, or even malicious. This shift in perception is where things can get messy. Now, I'm as guilty of this as anyone else. I'm naturally conflict averse. Whenever I sense a disagreement brewing, my instinct is to smooth things over, even if it means compromising my own needs. But Julia helped me realize that avoiding conflict altogether isn't the answer either. It's about learning to engage in disagreements constructively so that we can reap the benefits of diverse perspectives without sacrificing our relationships. So how exactly do we do that? Well, Julia shared a number of practical strategies that we can all start implementing in our own lives. First, she emphasized the importance of demonstrating genuine curiosity when engaging in a disagreement. It's not enough to simply think we're being open-minded. We need to actively show it through our words and actions. This could be as simple as verbally acknowledging that you value the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. For example, you could say something like, "I understand this is important to you, and I want to make sure I understand your point of view." Asking open-ended questions is another powerful way to demonstrate curiosity. Instead of asking leading questions that subtly steer the conversation towards your perspective, ask questions that encourage the other person to elaborate on their reasoning. Julia also introduced a fantastic framework called HERE that we can use to express disagreement receptively without derailing the conversation. HERE stands for hedging, emphasizing agreement, acknowledgement, and reframing to the positive. Let me break that down for you. Hedging. This involves using language that acknowledges the nuances of the situation and avoids absolute statements. For example, instead of saying "you're always late," you could say, "I've noticed that you've been running a bit behind schedule lately." Emphasizing agreement. Even in the midst of a disagreement, there are usually areas of common ground. Highlighting these areas of agreement helps maintain a sense of collaboration and mutual respect. Acknowledgement. This is about actively demonstrating that you've heard and understood the other person's perspective. It goes beyond simply saying, "I hear you," and involves paraphrasing their points in your own words to confirm your understanding. Reframing to the positive. This involves framing your disagreement in a way that focuses on possibilities and solutions rather than negativity and blame. For example, instead of saying, "I don't like that idea," you could say, "I'm wondering if there might be a different approach we could consider." The HERE framework provides a practical roadmap for navigating disagreements with grace and respect. It encourages us to be mindful of our language and approach, even when we're feeling emotionally charged. Now, even with the best intentions and communication strategies, conflicts are bound to arise from time to time. When they do, Julia offered some invaluable advice on how to handle them effectively. One of her most impactful suggestions was to ask ourselves, why would a reasonable, intelligent person hold this point of view? This simple question forces us to step outside of our own perspective and consider the situation from the other person's shoes. It helps us challenge our own assumptions and potentially uncover valid reasons behind their viewpoint. She also emphasized the importance of self-awareness, particularly when it comes to our own emotional state. If we're feeling overly stressed, tired, or emotionally drained, it's probably not the best time to engage in a potentially heated discussion. It's okay to take a step back, collect our thoughts, and revisit the conversation when we're in a calmer and more receptive headspace. And remember, sometimes the most empowering decision we can make is to walk away from a conflict altogether. This doesn't mean we're giving up. It simply means recognizing when a particular battle isn't worth fighting. We can always choose to disengage gracefully, setting healthy boundaries while still respecting the other person. Julia's insights have fundamentally changed how I approach disagreements and conflicts. I'm now much more conscious of the language I use, the questions I ask, and the importance of demonstrating genuine curiosity. I'm also more willing to embrace disagreements as opportunities for growth and learning, rather than threats to my sense of peace. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a few key takeaways. Disagreement isn't the enemy, conflict is. Embrace healthy disagreements as opportunities for growth and innovation. Demonstrate genuine curiosity. Show through your words and actions that you value the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. Master the HERE framework. Use hedging, emphasizing agreement, acknowledging, and reframing to the positive to communicate your disagreement receptively. Ask yourself, why would a reasonable person hold this viewpoint? This helps you step outside your own perspective and consider other valid perspectives. Know when to walk away. It's okay to disengage from a conflict gracefully if it's not serving you or the relationship. Remember, mastering the art of constructive disagreement is an ongoing journey, not a destination. Be kind to yourself, be patient with others, and never underestimate the power of open communication. That's it for today's episode. I hope you found it insightful and empowering. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast so that we can continue to grow this amazing community. Until next time, keep striving for financial freedom and unlocking your full potential.